What's going on, everybody? So today was finally the day. It was the last, episode of Game of Thrones ever aired today, and I mean, it's a sad day. I mean, this show has been on for 10 years. We have watched the show, invested so much time into this show with the characters and the world and everything, and it's finally over. Um, so this is my review for season 8, episode 6. There are gonna be spoilers, so if you're new to my channel, the way I do reviews is I do give spoilers. I just talk about everything. I normally would speculate on how I thought the show was gonna keep going, but I can't do that now. But yeah, there are going to be spoilers, so you have been warned. So if you haven't watched this week's episode, or if you haven't watched any Game of Thrones episodes and you don't want it being spoiled, then click away now. But if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you do enjoy this review. Also, go back and watch all my other, reviews for this season, because I do have reviews up for all the episodes in season 8. And a lot of my speculations came true. So, yeah, and if you're returning, watcher of my videos and subscriber, then welcome back. I hope that you enjoy this. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you not? How did you like season 8? But yeah, let's just dive right into this. So this episode, it picks up with Tyrion and Jon and everyone walking through King's Landing after Daenerys, burns it up completely. And you can just see the horrors and on Tyrion's face, he's Varys was right. I should have listened to him. I betrayed him, and you can see all that from his face, and later on he does say it to Jon, but you can just see all of it, and how much this, just it clarified that everything he feared about her and that he didn't want to believe just came true. So, he goes into, the Red Keep, and he goes down and he digs up Cersei and Jaime to clarify that they were dead, but at least, they made it out, and you can just see how broken, sad and broken he was. And then he went to Daenerys, and, Daenerys told him that, you betrayed me, and took him as prisoner for releasing Jaime. And Jon ends up, before that, seeing, Grey Worm executing, surrendered, Lannister army men. And he tries to stop it, but he can't because they have orders. And ultimately, in the first, 20-30 minutes, he goes to Tyrion. They have a nice conversation while Tyrion is, being a prisoner by Dany, and they, basically, he's telling him that, Varys was right. I betrayed my oldest friend because I believed in her, and, you love her, and you can't, she's just gonna keep doing this, because she gave this speech to the Unsullied and the Dothraki that they weren't gonna stop there. They were gonna go and liberate the whole entire world, starting with Winterfell and so on and so forth. And basically, she finally got that taste of, power out of fear, and she loved it. She really did. She loved becoming the person that she always claimed she was never going to be, but it's always been leading up to this moment with her, just by some of the acts. And Tyrion names all the acts that she has done, that everyone's they were horrible people, but she's always done these ruthless things, and not all of them might have been completely horrible, but they get grouped in. She's always had this, lust for power. And, in season 7 and so on, it's always been, showing more and more ever since she got to Westeros. I see on the internet why people don't like Daenerys' character. They don't like how it's rushed, and, her character turning, mad doesn't make sense, but it really does. Because she's always had this, she thinks that the Iron Throne is her destiny, and that she deserves it, and that it's hers. And, she likes the power. And on top of that, when she got to Westeros, Westeros has destroyed more people's integrity and everything than any other place, with the greediness, the politics, the backstabbing, all this other shit. And it just, Westeros was her downfall. And I honestly believe if she had never went to Westeros, she would have been just happy liberating, Slaver's Bay, Meereen, all of these different places. And Westeros, would have eventually had to, she might have eventually come there, but it might have been after Cersei was dealt with. It might have been after, you don't know. But honestly, her character, if she had just stayed where she was, I don't think it would have ever came to this, much power and burning innocent people in the streets. But, Jon and Tyrion had a really nice, moment with talking, and then Jon goes to, see Dany, and, Drogo is, not Drogo, Drogon, the dragon, I can't remember his name, it's Drogo something, I think, is, like, covered in snow and shit, and he lets him by, and he goes in, into the throne room. She's touching the Iron Throne. She's about to sit down, and he shows up, and she's like, kisses him and says, he asked her about the people killing the, Lannister army men, and he doesn't agree with it. Then he says, show Tyrion mercy. What are you gonna do with Tyrion? Show him mercy. And she just clarifies everything that Tyrion just said, that we're gonna build a better world, we're gonna break the will, but we can't have a merciful world yet. And then she ended up making the statement of, he was asking about people's will and, their beliefs, and, how do you know that you're right and they're wrong? And she's like, basically they have no will, and she's automatically right, which just clarified that, she is not going to be fair and just like she thinks she is. Like, she honestly became so deluded in her own beliefs and, and with the power, that she honestly believes that the way that she is going, she can make a better world, but at the same time, she's just going to be making the same exact world that's already there. It's just going to be with her and dragons and Unsullied and Dothraki. And it's possible she might have eventually given to the point where she's going to be merciful, but she has that power with fear like Cersei had, and it's downhill from there. So Jon ends up killing her, and the dragon comes up, and the dragon, honestly, I love what he did, the way that he reacted. He's nudging her, thinking, making sure she's dead, and then he looks at Jon and ends up turning his head and burning the wall and then the Iron Throne, and he melts that bitch to the ground, which I want to say is symbolism that the reign of Targaryens are done. That is how I looked at it. He knew that it was, with her gone, that was the end of it. But at the same time, a part of me just thinks that, maybe he was, instead of burning Jon, because he can't, burn Jon because Jon is Targaryen, or part Targaryen, and, he can't harm another Targaryen, I want to say. I think that he just, with all the anger he had, he just started burning shit next to Jon and around him. I don't know. Honestly, that's one of the parts that I feel like I need to rewatch and try to figure it out. I think it's more up to speculation. I think it is symbolism, but at the same time, I think that's just the way that he was just angry and he had to just burn shit. Let me know what you think down in the comments about that little, suggestion or theory. But, then he just picks up Daenerys' body and flies off. And that's the last we see of him and Daenerys' body. So then it goes black and it cuts to Arya, Sansa, Sir Davos, Podrick, Brienne, the couple of the Northern men, Samwell, Tarly, some other lords, the Vale, and just all of them gathered in the dragon pit, where they met with Cersei when they showed her the dead men. And, they bring Tyrion out from being prisoner, and he has a full beard. So I was wondering how long it's been. It's been a couple of weeks. So the Unsullied bring him out, and we hear that they have Jon as a prisoner. They don't know what they're going to do with him yet. They want his head. They want Tyrion's head too. But they all are having this meeting, and they try to reason with the Unsullied. And Tyrion makes this suggestion of, why don't we just choose the next king or queen? And then Sam makes the proposition of a true democracy, and they all laugh because they're not ready for that. But his way would be the best. Let the people choose. So instead, basically that whole meeting was about breaking the will by, instead of having a name, the name of a house automatically has claim to the throne. Let's just choose every, so often the lords and ladies of the houses will gather at this spot, and we will choose a king or a queen. And so they ended up making Bran the king of the Seven Kingdoms, which apparently has been his whole role the whole time. I thought his whole role was, to do the Night King, and I thought he was going to have more role, influence in that whole deal. But obviously, it was just become the king, which he obviously knew that. So I didn't see him becoming king at all. So I did like that. And then he made it where Tyrion, ends up, having to be the hand. Tyrion doesn't want it. And you could tell that Tyrion really does not want it. And he makes it sound like to the Unsullied Grey Worm that it's a punishment for him. He's going to serve as the hand of the king for the rest of his days, trying to undo some of the mistakes that he's made, which I feel like he is honestly okay with that. But then it has to come to Jon, and they can't kill Jon because the northern people will never let them kill Jon. And they were already outside of King's Landing just waiting, to see how it was going to go. But the Unsullied wanted his head. So they made the conclusion to send Jon back to the Night's Watch. Which, if you thought at the time that was a bad deal, or you're confused about the ending, I kind of speculated how that was going to play out to begin with. So, Tyrion gets to tell him that. Sansa propositions that the North will never bend the knee again, so let the North be its own kingdom. And Bran, lets that be. So there's only 6 kingdoms now. So the North got to do that. Sansa became Queen of the North, like she should have been. Jon went back to the Night's Watch, but not before saying goodbye to Bran and Sansa and Arya, which was a beautiful moment, which is probably the last time they'll see each other for a very long time, because Bran will be in King's Landing. Arya is actually going to sail west of Westeros to explore and find out what's there. So that's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be probably a spin-off series. More than likely, I think that they could get, Arya's character to keep going with her adventures, west. I really do hope that they do that, because I think that'd be a cool little show. And then, Sansa's Queen of the North, and Jon went back up to the Night's Watch, which, of course, Tormund and all the free folk were up there. And this is where my theory came into play. I didn't think he was going to end up at the Night's Watch. I always thought that he was going to go back up there and live amongst the free folk out and, beyond the wall. And that's exactly how it looked like he was ending, with him riding out with the free folk past the wall. And I'm okay with that ending. I really am, because, that has always been where he fits in the most. He fell in love with, Ygritte, who was a wildling. He has always fit in with the free folk more than anyone else. I never did think that they were going to end this show as happy as, they did. I always thought it was always going to end either with Cersei winning or, after the whole Dany thing, I thought that maybe Dany was going to kill all the Starks and basically just roll out of fear from everyone, and Tyrion was going to die. I really did think a lot more people were going to die in this season than the people that did. But you know, yeah, Bran's whole council, he has a really good council with him. You have Tyrion as the hand of the king. You have Brienne on the council. You have Sir Devos. You have Sam, who we get to see finally became a maester, which he has always wanted to do. And then you have what's the dude's name? The dude that's the mercenary that's always been with Tyrion and Jaime. Sabron of Blackwater. He's part of the council, and they're missing two more that they have to figure out. Um, and you know they ask about the dragon, and Bran said that the last that he was seen was flying east. And Bran leaves with Podrick, we got to see became a knight finally. You know, and he's like, maybe I can go, find him and figure this out because he's a warg. So, yeah, ultimately, this was a fantastic ending to this series. I really do think that there was no better way for this show to end. There's no happier ending that this show was ever going to have. Tyrion lived, all the Starks lived except for the ones that died. You know, Ned, Catherine, Robb, and the youngest brother. All of them died, but all the main Starks that are still living from that we've been following all these years, they lived. And honestly, I never thought that the Starks were ever going to live past the ending, but four of them did. And it's been a hell of a ride. I have loved this show from beginning to end. Every episode, every moment. Well, not every moment, because some of the moments really pissed me off. But, you know, just not because it's bad, just I didn't want it to happen. But this has been a great fucking show. My favorite show of all time. I know people are hating that this was 6 episodes and it was rushed. But honestly, I don't think it really was rushed. I like the fact that they, you know, they didn't drag it out. They didn't, keep it going for 3-4 more seasons when they could have wrapped it up as neatly as they did. The only thing I had a problem with this episode is something that should have been shown was in season 2 at the end when Dany lost her kid. The witch told her that she would see Drogo again and her kid when she died. And she died and they never showed that. So that's the one thing that I wish they would have shown, which I think might have been cut on the cutting floor. So maybe once the Blu-ray and 4K comes out, if there is a 4K of it, it comes out, maybe we'll get to see that. I don't know, but yeah, other than that, this has been a fucking fantastic show. Best show ever. If you haven't watched it and you just watched my spoiler review of the series finale, I don't know why the fuck you watched it, but go check out this fucking show. It is spectacular, and I don't think you will be disappointed. Especially if you like fantasy and fucked up shows that you never see the fucking end to. This show has been one of the funnest experiences I've had watching and talking to people, speculating. Because just the way my brain works, I speculate, and like I said, majority of the stuff I thought came true, like Jon going to live out with the free folk. I had a feeling that was going to happen. If he survived, I had a feeling he was going to go live out there with them. But yeah, I'm going to give Season 8, Episode 6 a 5 out of 5. I'm going to give Season 8 as a whole a 5 out of 5. I have loved every moment of this show. I have loved this season. I thought this was a great finale and a great final season. And yeah, comment down below, let me know what you guys thought of this season, what you thought, all the stuff that I said, comment down below for, and just let me know who was your favorite character, who'd you wish would have survived throughout the whole show and made it to the end. If you've read the books, what's some of the stuff that they cut out from the books that you wish they would have done? Were you happy with how, Season 8 unfolded? Lots to talk about down there. We can just talk about the show, no more speculating, we can just talk about it. Or we can speculate about spin-off series. What spin-off series would you like to see from the Game of Thrones world? Because I know they're making one of the Children of the Forest when the Night King was made. I know that they're going to probably make one about Robert Baratheon's, rebellion and show that against the Mad King. Like I said, hopefully the Arya one. And, maybe they'll follow some other main characters from the show. who knows what they're going to do from now on with this world, but I am very excited to see what they have in store next. But yeah, guys, in the description I have links to my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages, and a Reddit page for my for the YouTube channel. Click on there for updates on personal life things and working on things and thinking about doing. Just follow me over there for just fun little tidbits about my personal life and things like that, and updates about the channel. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button because it really does help me out. Also share it with all your friends, family, others that you know, and even people that you don't know. And hit that subscribe button for more awesome content like this, and the little bell icon to be notified when I upload. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.